Call the special regular meeting of Monday, jeepers, that's a habit. Thursday, May the 8th to order. There's an agenda there in front of you. Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda, please? Councilors Forrester and Randawa. Any additions or deletions? All in favor? Any opposed? It's carried. I note that Dr. Bakken and I believe DC Ampucci are joining us remotely. So there's a single item on the agenda, which is the report from the Chief Financial Officer with regards to the audited financial statements. But before we go to that, there is an opportunity for any member of the public who wants to come forward and speak to that item on the agenda. You're more than welcome to do that at this time. And I'm looking at the one member of the public that's in the room. All right. With that, then we'll move right on to the report from the Chief Financial Officer. These are the audited financial statements. The recommendation is the Council accepts the 2024 audited financial statements as presented. Can I have a motion to that effect? Councilors Adie and Forster. Dr. Buchan, is there anything you want to say in introducing them?
Your Worship, no, I have nothing to say in addition to what the Director of Finance has already put into the report.
Excellent. There is a substantial report which I encourage people to read, as well as, of course, the financial statements. There are highlights there in terms of large blocks of money that I guess what I would basically describe as accounting moves, all appropriate, but money that didn't get spent and being accounted differently. Director Bauman, can I turn to you to sort of give the highlights of your report? I know we didn't set this up in advance, but I know that you live, eat, sleep, and breathe this, so I don't expect I'm catching you flat-footed.
Thank you. Firstly, thank you to Council for agreeing to schedule the special meeting. Our auditor suffered an IT issue, which delayed receiving the audited statements in time for the regular meeting that occurred this past Monday. As to the report, we have provided it to Council identifying the financial highlights, as you have mentioned, for the 2024 audited financial statements, which outline some of the differences compared to the prior year as well as to budget. The statements are a snapshot of the city's financial position at a specific point in time, but they do not tell the story of the city's capital replacement needs. The 5-year financial plan is the forward-facing document, which speaks to our plans to replace critical city assets, and these statements reflect that the city is following through on the critical projects identified in the plan adopted in previous years. Overall, the city's financial position as presented by these statements shows a reduction in financial assets impacted mainly through the transfer of Watson Island to tangible capital assets owned by the city for income generating purposes. The change to the city's financial assets also reflects the use of debt and cash held in reserves to invest in the revitalization of the city, as is reflected in the increase in the city's capital assets. These activities support Council's strategic plan objectives of community renewal. The budget variance, which is also attached in attachment number 2, presents a surplus of approximately $2.2 million. Most of this surplus has been generated through the high interest rate environment that we are in, coupled with a warmer winter affecting roads, limited staff available for deployment in parks, and increased use of recreation facilities than budgeted. Our auditors have indicated that, in their opinion, these statements reflect fairly the financial position of the city as at December 31st, and they will append the auditor's report to the statements after Council accepts them. Council is asked to approve the 2024 audited financial statements as presented.
Great. Questions or comments from Council? Councillor Randawa.
Thank you for your report. So, we invest so much money in the big project, so everything goes decrease, right? Like accumulated operating surplus 7 million decrease, right?
Yeah.
So how we can catch up back to surplus, back to normal again? So what our plans are and if there's any red flag in the statements or anything for this year.
Director Bombin.
I wouldn't say that there's any red flags. What the statements show is that we're actually actioning on the projects that have been put in place. The surplus, the reduction in surplus, is mostly a result of transferring the Watson Island property that we got in tax sale into capital assets, recognizing that now we're going to be generating income off of it instead of possibly still retaining it for sale. Granted, the property can be sold at any point in the future, just like anybody can sell a capital asset. But instead, we've moved it from inventory held to a capital asset because we are actually earning income off of it. But as speaking specifically to the surplus, as I mentioned, a lot of it was created through the acquisition of Watson Island and tax sale. Back in 2008, all three years worth of taxes that had been put on pause because of a partnership agreement that was struck with the previous owner were all taken into income in 1 year, which caused it to go to tax sale the same year. What it meant is that there was a bunch of taxes associated with the property that had not been budgeted to be spent. So all of that money ended up in our surplus. So now the decrease in surplus is a reflection of recognizing that now it's not going to be recouped through sale. Now we have taken the property into our own, basically our own assets.
Is that got that covered? All right. Anybody else? I appreciate that financial statements can be rather, especially an operation the size of the city, it can be a little bit daunting to have a look at. But just at a really high level, if you look at page 3 of the report, it shows the big blocks of revenue and the big blocks of expenses, and of course they get broken down in different ways. But what you will see there, if you go through it, taxes make up $31.5 million of the revenue that the city runs on. It listed as sale of services. There's 14.3 million dollars sale of services, but a great deal of that, Director Bauman, is the water sewer funds that get transferred in. But there is a substantial amount under sale of services in addition to that, through transit, through airport ferry fees, through parking fees, through recreation fees. Recreation fees alone total to $1.1 million, and so it gives you a sense of where the revenue comes from that actually runs the city. And then, of course, there are a lot of government transfers because we've done a good job of getting some grants and things. But then, if you look at the big blocks of expenses, it really defines what a city does. And the biggest single block of expense is protection to persons and property, $14.7 million roughly, out of a $51,000 budget. And so it's police and fire. Oh, did I say 51,000? Wow, that would be a bargain. 51 million. Thank you very much. Let's keep the zeros where they belong. Yeah, out of a $51 million budget. So $14.7 million goes into fire and police and those kinds of protective services. The next big block, which should come as no surprise to anyone, is almost $13 million for water, sewer, and solid waste. And then the third one is roads and transportation at $6.5 million. We've got $7 million for recreation. So I mean, if you were to define 4 big things that government does, the local government does, we protect property and people. We look after water, sewer, and solid waste. We're in the roads and transportation business, and we do recreation and culture in the community, and then other things sort of fall after that. So anyway, I appreciate that financial statements can be confusing. Um, there's many pages to this, but I really do encourage people to have a quick look and see where their hard-earned tax dollars go, and because it's all here for your viewing pleasure. One last chance. Any other comments? All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. Before we dismiss, I'll give you one chance at any comments you want from council, just a round table. Councillor Cunningham.
Just a general comment about the roundabout. There seems to be a lot of confusion that the city's doing it and it's coming from our tax base, when in reality it's a provincial project that is on a provincial highway.
Yeah.
And we are benefiting from the fact that they're going to be doing some of our infrastructure work that we would have had to pay for. So we're quite happy with that. But at the end of the day, it's not us doing it, it's the provincial government.
Right. And I think that, just to thanks for raising it and to bring a highlight to it. And I suspect that most people that are watching this are well informed by that, because they're the ones actually who pay attention and to what's going on. But just to reiterate that the McBride and 3rd Avenue are provincial highways. It is the province. Sorry? 2nd, thank you very much. Jeepers, I'm needing a lot of correcting tonight. McBride and 2nd Avenue are each provincial highways. The work that is planned at that intersection is planned by the Ministry of Highways. You can, some people like the plan, some people don't like the plan. I think everybody's going to be inconvenienced by it during the construction. There's no question about that. But as Councillor Cunningham points out, there is a large amount of beneficial work to the taxpayers of Prince Rupert is going to take place, because in order to put the roundabout on top of that area, they need to dig down to some of the most expensive to reach pipes that we have in the city of Prince Rupert. Roughly $8 million of that project is dedicated to moving pipes and repairing and upgrading the pipes that are under there. We then have to continue down 2nd Avenue, replacing and repairing pipes. But they have literally saved the local taxpayer in the neighborhood of $8 million by doing that. And I know people love to say, well, yeah, but it's still tax money. But it's tax money being shared by 5 million people as opposed to by 12,000 people in the little town of Prince Rupert. And so that would translate to a significant tax hike on local properties if we had to bear that burden ourselves. Any other comments or questions that you want to raise? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Councillors Cunningham, Councillor Adey, all in favor? Any opposed? It's carried. Meeting is adjourned.